name is Connor. This is our story.
Marhaba Ashak PlayStation. Ramadan Kareem. I think that there are two reasons for that. The first is that in the Kara short, Kara goes through the whole range of human emotions in a very short space of time. She wakes up and has a certain naive curiosity about the world and about what she is. She discovers that she's just a piece of merchandise, and then she feels despair, fear. That's something that people can relate to because you see a character in a very vulnerable state and you see a character that shares the emotions that you share. It builds a bridge between you and what's supposed to be a machine. But probably the more important reason is that Kara is in a situation that we all find ourselves in as people, I think. She needs to discover who she is and decide who she's going to be. She needs to find a meaning or a purpose in her life, which is something everybody faces, and that's why Detroit Become Human has the focus that it does on choice, because we think that the game should be true to life in the sense that your choices should dictate the story and dictate who the characters become. I mean, I think that's a very good question, and I think that in writing Detroit, our objective was not to answer that question for players. That's what we've meant in the past when we've said Detroit doesn't have a message. Our job was to let the player tell his own story, and so whilst we were very interested in that question, we wanted the player to write and direct his own story and come up with his own answer to that question. Certainly I think if a machine begins to feel emotion, some kind of line has been crossed. And that's the point at which the question becomes particularly urgent, because if a machine, we've seen from the Kara, she's willing to sacrifice herself to save Alice, a human child. So once a machine is capable of putting itself in danger to help someone else, once it's capable of empathy and love, to what extent is it still just a machine? These are the kinds of questions that we hope players will think about as they play the story, and the story will encourage them to find their own answers through the choices they make. The most challenging thing for me, I came from a linear medium where you decide as a group what story you want to tell and you tell it. Here, there's an added dimension to the writing, which is the dimension of choice. So in a TV writing room, you may argue about what a character would do at a particular moment. Would they be brave? Would they be cowardly? In the end, you have to decide as a group and show the answer you've come up with. The beauty of something like Detroit Become Human is you can invite the player into the room and say, you tell us what happens. And so your job as a writer is to provide the tools the player needs to write his own experience. And adjusting to that, adjusting to interactivity versus linear, people feel so much more connected to a story when they're responsible for what happens. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I honestly don't, in that I don't have a preferred version of the story. But what I do like to see are people who've thought deeply about the story they've got. I mean, what excites us as writers is when somebody comes away from the experience thinking about the particular story they ended up with and how it kind of reflects them. Any setting which allows you to get at an issue or a theme that's still important today is a good setting. So it's possible to do things that are set today but which don't feel that socially relevant, and it's possible to do things that are set in the ancient past but which do have a real resonance today. You know, you can do the Shakespeare play Julius Caesar and it can make you think about politics today. That's an ancient setting. What I'd say about the game, I've talked today a little bit about what the game's about, where it's set, who the characters are, etc. But what the game's really about is you as a player. The game gives you the tools to tell your own story. The interactivity is designed to immerse you in the characters. The storytelling is designed to immerse you in the story. The choices are designed to give you the power to tell your own story. And so in that sense, Detroit's going to hold up a mirror to you as a player, and it will be about you. اشتراك بقناة بلايستيشن ميدل إيست.
من أجل اللاعبين.